Sorry, I promised myself I wasn't even cry in this video because
that this is not a safe environment. I'm feeling all type of emotions right now. She even went as far as telling me that she was the reincarnated Virgin Mary.
Austin McBROOM did exactly what we thought he would do. He responded to Catherine on Snapchat in a 25-minute long rant, making allegations about her releasing recordings that seemed like they were illegally recorded, and making allegations that their children are in an unsafe environment around Catherine. You guys have been asking me to go ahead and react to some of the highlights, so let's go ahead and unpack this.
I never expected to be here today to talk to you guys what I'm about to get ready to talk to you guys about. I never wanted to talk about this for many reasons. I think the biggest reason is to protect the most important people in my life, which is the mother of my kids.
Now, I want to acknowledge that Catherine putting out this book, we're getting into messy territory. She knew that it would go there, and I'm glad she is going there because I feel like it's her time to reclaim what had happened when he was unfaithful to her, which is unacceptable, but his reaction proves to me that he's a coward.
Someone writes an autobiography about their life. It starts with, hey, my name is. Not Dolores. That's definitely not how she started. And that's why I feel like it was a setup. Reason why I say a setup is because when we went through our separation and we decided to announce it to the world, her and I were trying to figure out what was the best way of doing it. I felt the best way of doing it was coming out with a YouTube video together, her and I side by side. And I even told her that, hey, I'll do all the talking. I'll take full accountability for my actions and all the mistakes that I've made. I said, you don't have to say anything if you don't want. Even though you've made mistakes and I've made mistakes, I'll go ahead and take all the blame. She didn't want to do that. So it left me with no choice but to make my own video. I decided to make my own.
He just had to go and make his own video. It sounds like she was presented with an ultimatum and she did not like the option of just sitting there in silence while he got to talk about what really happened. So I think it's nice that maybe she kept this to herself for the right moment. Also, shout out to Boss Girl Beat on Instagram for gathering these clips.
When her book came out to receive monetary value. So here she continues to talk about how she doesn't feel handcuffed anymore and how she is able to move on with her life because she was able to put out the statement that she wanted to put out. She wanted to tell her that was her side of the story. And now I'm basically just asking her if it's okay for me to tell how I feel in my side of the story. And this is what she proceeds to say. Okay, it's good. That's good.
Because now I'm finally.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, but I'm saying I'm glad you're saying that.
But I do.
So you don't have to keep reverting back to.
But I do agree. What you're saying is that you don't want to feel like you're being attacked in any way, or like I'm.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to keep worried about you.
I don't want to.
Because my concern was that, is she gonna keep bringing me up time and time again? So I let her seek that journey, and that's what she did. Through her ayahuasca journey, she was telling me how one moment she feels like she's a psychic.
Now, if you don't know what ayahuasca is, it is a drug that's becoming more and more popular, and it's when I believe you drink some medicinal. I'm actually not skilled in that. I've never done it. I don't have any plan to, but no, shout out to the people who drink the ayahuasca. It's something that Catherine, or Dolores, has really found healing in her journey, something that Austin doesn't seem to know too much about either.
The next moment she felt like she was a healer. The next moment she turned me into a mermaid. I was being as supportive as I could. She even went as far as telling me that she was the reincarnated Virgin Mary and that she no longer wanted to have sex with me and she didn't want to use her body in that way. You guys put yourself in my shoes, and if your significant other told you that they were the Virgin Mary and no longer wanted to have sex with you, what would you do?
Not the Virgin Mary, but tell me why I actually kind of believe that she did say that. That is so Catherine. Have you ever been in a serious accident that changed everything? It's like a nightmare. One moment you're minding your own business, and the next you're in pain, you're confused, and trying to figure out how you're gonna deal with the amount of medical bills. And insurance, I mean, that could be a nightmare on its own. That is when I found out about Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. And trust me, they don't play around with lowball offers. They recently won $12 million in Florida and another $26 million in Philadelphia for crash victims. That is 34 to 40 times higher than what insurance companies originally tried to pay. And here's the best part, you don't pay a dime unless they win your case. So it is literally risk-free to go and file a claim. So whether you've been hurt in an accident or at work or just simply walking down the street, your case could be worth millions and you might not even know it yet. You could start your claim right now at forthepeople.com/Sloan, or you could just scan the QR code on the screen with your phone's camera. Thank you to Morgan & Morgan for sponsoring this video, and enjoy.
When Catherine got her own spot and she was living with her boyfriend, she decided to take Linnell's business away from her clientele, and decided to do the ayahuasca ceremonies and her hosting them at her house, in her home where my kids lay their head. It got so bad.
Oh, I'd cut out like an entire like minute of him like like crying a bit. I saved you guys from it.
Sorry, I promised myself I wasn't even gonna fucking cry in this video because
I'm just angry. All different type of experiences. That this is not a safe environment. Somehow they found someone in Brazil to help them illegally import this ayahuasca shit. And they've been hosting these ayahuasca ceremonies.
And I think when he's saying they, I think he's alluding to both Catherine and her boyfriend, her new boyfriend who she's gotten very close with.
For the past year at Catherine's house where my kids lay their head. And after her friends came to me and voiced their concern, I knew I really only had two options. Either I get full custody of the kids, or I spend more time with them to protect them. And I think you guys know what option I chose. I never, ever wanted to do that to her.
Now, Austin got to the point where he threatens custody. Was he threatening custody? Possibly, which I would love to see like how Catherine would rebuttal to that. We don't have her response, but what we do have, I have a couple stories I'll show you. But before we get there, I want to talk about her boyfriend, Igor. This is Igor 10. This is the guy that Catherine has been dating for quite some time now. At one point in this rant, a part that you guys did not see, he brings up the fact that in this group photo that he had screenshotted of them doing like a ceremony for ayahuasca, Austin alluded to one of these guys being like 12 years old in the photo, which is something that Igor corrected in his response on Instagram. He posted a bunch of informational things about ayahuasca. It's honestly giving like ChatGPT, so I'm not going to read through this. He like goes through different reasons why it's super important, and you know, we get it, but then he particularly calls out Austin. What you heard on Snapchat was a mix of misinformation, personal bias, and ignorance coming from someone who clearly had no real understanding of the topic. Again, I think that's kind of like ChatGPT. Anytime there's a little dash in the middle of a sentence, you could tell it's ChatGPT. They didn't take the time to research, to study, or to speak with any sense of responsibility. Instead, they spoke with prejudice. And to you, the hater reading this, you were misled. You didn't take the time to verify anything or do your own research. Now, I did notice his comments were turned off on Instagram. He said one more thing. The boy in the photo he showed is 17 years old and was accompanied by his parents, who are Catherine's close friends. There's no way a guy that size is only 12. Just take a proper look at the photo. I mean, he's 17. I don't know. I mean, is this a drug that minors can do? I mean, I guess he was accompanied by his parents, sure, but it doesn't mean the parents are in the right. This is just one more baseless assumption that triggers a wave of hate. People with nothing better to do, just waiting on a chance to throw stones at others. You know what? He kind of gives me Austin vibes. Like, Austin, you've met your match. Catherine seems to be carefree, though, posing in her car on her Instagram, writing, "Resilience is her nature. Her spirit is unstoppable." And of course, she's super happy because her book is #1 on Instagram today, so good for her. Dolores, shout out to you. But if you look at Instagram, people are not amused. People are commenting, "The Virgin Mary, WTF? Catherine, you both need to stop doing drugs in front of the kids. Catherine, get off the drugs and seek help, mama. This isn't okay. This stuff is a drug. Y'all are tripping. Austin treated her terribly. She found her worth." Okay, so there's back and forth. She's lost in the best man ever. So people are, again, supporting Igor. Can y'all stop mentioning Austin like they divorced for a reason and she deserves peace, not the topic of Austin in every post. Another person adds, "Now I understand why they're into each other, because of the druggies hanging out together and becoming mermaids and whatnot." Another person asked, "Ayahuasca, I don't think that's putting your children first." And then finally, this comment reads, "Now it makes sense when people in the comments would say they had a weird feeling about this guy. I see why now." Now, we've been talking about the Ace family for so long on this channel, so we're going to continue talking about it. And I want to hear what you guys think about Austin's response and the people kind of going after Catherine and everything going on here. I mean, it's interesting to see these two, being talked about again, because everything's kind of like gone away. But I feel like this is their last hurrah before, I don't know what could happen next. Maybe Austin getting into more scandals, but I have a feeling that Catherine's just gonna float away in her own world. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love you guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye.